So here's a slab in my backyard that we poured when we first moved in, which was only like 6 months ago. So it runs from this joint right there, because that was this back patio was provided by the builder. So from that joint to the fireplace was poured by a concrete contractor, and we didn't notice until it rained, but it has a slope and it pools all in this area. And when I say pools, I mean it's a good 2-inch difference from that corner to that corner. We have about at least an inch of water standing in here, and then it's dry over here. So I looked up ways to fix this, and this is what I came up with. It is a rapid set concrete leveler and the primer. So I saw a YouTube video on how they do it and what to do, and I'm going to attempt to do it here to level out my patio. Now, I don't expect it to look good in terms of the finished product. We are going to tile over it, but in terms of laying the tile and putting a little bit of mortar underneath the tile, you can't do 2 or 3 inches of mortar underneath the tile to make the slope go the other direction. So my idea is to do this leveler first, and basically from this joint towards the fireplace, make the self-leveler go that direction to bring up the level at least an inch or so, to help when we go to set the tile that it won't have the grade to where all the water will pool on this area. So I read the instructions, and I'm just gonna go through the steps. But the first step I did that's not on camera is I pressure washed the area. I have, paint and some concrete left over on the joints that I could clean out and be a perfectionist about, but I don't want to take too much time on cleaning it up too much. But I did pressure wash, and then I'm just going to do a quick sweep and then do the primer, and then however many bags it takes to get it to where it's about an inch and a half from, I'm trying to get it to where it's at least over to about right here. So we'll see what happens. So I'm kind of lazy right now, and I don't want to put the primer in a bucket and smooth it out like with a brush. So I'm just going to use a roller. I'm going to dump it on the concrete and use a roller. It says on the instructions to shake. Okay, so while this is drying, I don't know if you actually need the primer for my application or my situation, because this concrete was just laid, 5 months ago with a brush finish, and I think it already had the substrate kind of etched. So I think the self-leveling concrete would have stuck just fine, but I wanted to go with the manufacturer specifications and go by the instructions, so I'm not having any issues. So whether it pulls up a little bit of grime or it etches it a little bit more, so it's not going to hurt anything besides my pocketbook. I think the primer wasn't very expensive, so I went ahead and did it. But it's almost dry, and I think we pretty much have to do the self-leveler right after it dries. Otherwise it defeats the purpose if a bunch of dirt and grime gets on it afterwards. So I'm going to get the self-leveling concrete ready. All right, so here is it drying now. So this was 6 bags, 6 50-pound bags, and I wasn't sure, it's hard to calculate how much I needed. So this area is 16 by like 6, so it's about 100 square feet, and wanting to raise it, let's say a ½ inch on that back end, I think I got it. I think we made it, but I wouldn't have minded one more bag to fill in this area right here. Now, so 100 square feet, I would say 7 bags would have been perfect, but I got 6. One issue of doing this on the outside versus doing this interior is that the wind picked up and then blew a bunch of dirt and dog hair and leaves, so I'm not excited about that, but that is finished product besides drying. So now today we're going to go over here we are going to tile the backyard. So I got a red guard that we're going to put down before. It's a waterproofing for crack prevention, and so that water doesn't wick up into the concrete and then into the tile and ruin the thin set. Then we got thin set mortar, and then we got travertine. This is the Versailles pattern. I'll show you what that looks like. This is the Versailles pattern. The travertine tiles are real. This is not a fake porcelain tile that looks like travertine. And what that means is it's actual limestone from Italy, and it's thicker than a normal tile. It's also very brittle. So you don't want to move these around too much. You don't want it on uneven surfaces because they'll crack in half. I already was moving these around and the edges chip off. So we're gonna put them in basically as you see them with close joint. We're not gonna put a spacer, 16th or 8th inch spacer. So yeah, we're gonna tile all of it. We're even going to tile these. So we'll see what that looks like. Very excited.